So I was about to delete my Patreon account about 2 weeks ago. I just received a message from one of my longest patrons telling me he's leaving now. It's been a great journey. It's been awesome supporting me, but he really can't be part of it anymore. And I felt really discouraged, and I was about to sort of delete it because I'd kind of been seeing the numbers dwindling over the last 6 years since I've been on the platform. And as I was about to press the big delete button and considering to just leave the platform entirely, I got this email from Patreon founder Jack Conte, a personal note about the future of the internet. The web today, to me, feels like a broken promise. As a creator, it's nearly impossible to reach my followers. I feel so much pressure to feed the algorithm as a creative person that it drains my soul and makes me question my own artistry. I don't want this internet, I don't want it, and I refuse to believe it's the best that humanity can do. He goes on to say that Patreon has created an alternative solution, which I'll speak about in a bit. But to give you some context about where I'm coming from with that, that is exactly the feeling encapsulated in words that I'd been experiencing over the last 6-7 years since joining Patreon and even before then. So right before I joined Patreon, I started to feel like this disillusionment with social media. I didn't like what I was seeing. I started to feel like I was on this hamster wheel of constantly needing to post on Instagram, basically present this idea that I'm succeeding and that the things that I'm doing are worth their weight in gold. And also, it just felt like the things that were really interesting to people were like the big wins, the big outcomes, the awards, the album launches, the big successes that you have, and less about the daily experience of what it means to be an artist who creates intrinsically and then shares the work. So I am a big fan of Austin Kleon's Show Your Work ethos, which says a big part of our process of making art is the process itself. It's about sharing the work as you make it. And the idea was that you would share a snapshot of work that you were doing on your social media. Just take a picture of your phone or write a little mini blog post, share it to social media. And back in the day when I started using social media, people would see that stuff, they would comment, they would engage. It used to be this really interesting, creative space where people are jumping on board ideas and the theory of how art works. And somewhere along that process, as the internet started to evolve away from social media and more into the attention economy, which is where we're at now, it became less about that. And I started to see, again, people disengaging, people migrating to places like TikTok, migrating to mediums like Shorts or Reels, where you kind of have to grab somebody's attention within the first 3 seconds. And if you're not a dancer, suddenly you get people who are dancing and jumping on the trend. All of this at the detriment of creating depth of art and depth of content. Suddenly it felt like this wasn't a place for me anymore. I decided I'm going to make Patreon my project for the duration of the COVID-19 lockdown. I managed to recruit my first bunch of patrons. People jumped on really quickly. They jumped on quickly because they wanted to support, they wanted to be part of something, and most of them were sitting at home pretty much doing nothing and starved for human connection like we all were during the lockdown. But I quickly realized that after I had recruited my first 20 patrons, all of them having been supporters of previous works of mine, the human connection aspect was starting to lack. Even though Patreon provided all of the tools that allows creators to connect with their audience, I still found that people who were supporting me, despite their debit orders going off monthly, despite me earning money from their support, I'd still find people engaging more on other social media platforms like Instagram and Facebook and all of this, and not even engaging on any of the posts I was making on Patreon. I was posting blogs, I was posting videos, we were doing behind the scenes. My band and I were kind of funding new works. And most of the time, I was hearing crickets, which tells you something about what Patreon was doing wrong. And also something about what Patreon was doing right. Right in the sense that we were earning recurring revenue. I was making some passive income every month. All of the proceeds went back into studio gear, into paying the guys who were playing on my recordings, into plugins and all of the other things that go with creating work, all the operating expenses. But failing miserably in connecting with humans on the other side, despite the fact that on Patreon, all your posts go direct to the supporter's email address. Like if they have the app installed, they'll immediately get a push notification, but I still found people hanging out on social media. And despite all that, I kept the Patreon account open. Eventually, it kind of like just fizzled and dwindled away. I was speaking about it a lot on social media. I just found that people were not interested in that. It really just felt to me like audiences were starting to be conditioned to just become passive consumers. It was a complete 180 from what social media used to be when I started back in the day. Now it just feels like it's a graveyard, because right now, if I go onto my Facebook now, I see the front page of the news, politics, religious, Bible bashing. Instagram is just paid ads, influencers, AI slop everywhere you go. And then, of course, like the big business gurus. And it's just not the same anymore. It's just not what it used to be. So we get this email from Jack Conte, and he's saying Patreon has now created the alternative. It's not a social media site in the way that we understand it now, but it's got all of the things that Patreon has always had: direct-to-fan communication via email, via push notification. But now they've created the new version of the app, which is centered around human connection. The people that you opt in to follow, you see all of what they post. The people that you support, the people that you pledge to, go straight to the top of your feed. You see exactly what it is that you want to see, what you're interested in. And that lights me up, because it means that on a platform like Patreon now, as opposed to Instagram, if I post something and somebody follows me over there or becomes a member of me, because now you can have free members or paid members, whether or not they're free or paid, they still see everything that I post. So I've been on there for the last 15 days or so, and I've really been enjoying it. Like my home feed, it's filled up with the interesting things that people are making, like the interesting creative projects that they're working on. One of the first things that I noticed while using the new Patreon Quips feature, which is almost like Twitter, where you're posting a little idea. You can post a picture, a video up to 2 minutes, or a piece of writing. You can also reshare somebody else's work and then add your own quote, like you can add your own context to it. The cool thing about all of this is that when I post something, not only do all of my followers see that, anyone who's interacted with me in the last little while will see it, which is awesome. If I comment on somebody else's quip, their whole audience will see my comment, or will see that I commented there. If I like somebody else's quip or somebody likes mine, everyone in the mutual ecosystem there, in the mutual audience, will see that. And we can actually see that that is creating a lot of overlap between different creators. It's starting to create this very organic feeling of everyone in the room is kind of seeing what's happening in the room. And there's an organic overlap of interests and of camaraderie. I've already started feeling like I'm starting to make friends over there, people I've never met, people whose art I never would have discovered on traditional social media. It's so far been a very low risk, low performance space. I feel like there's nothing worse than feeling like you constantly have to show on social media that you are boosting, or that your highlight reel is more sizzling than the next guy's sizzle reel. I used to open the Instagram app and just feel bad. Like I'd open it, scroll, or 1, 2, 3, scroll a few different profiles, and then close the app and be like, why do I feel so junk all of a sudden? I kind of taught myself to only look at 3 posts and then immediately close it. Eventually, I lost all interest in opening the app at all. Contrasting that with Patreon now, they're not trying to hack your attention. They're not trying to get you riled up. They're not trying to get you into a rage bait, or try to get you into a conspiracy theory, or try to sell stuff to you, or try to, there's no scamming going on. It's such a refresh. It's such a refresher that there's no AI slop on it. You know, it doesn't feel like you're being lied to. It doesn't feel like there's any form of dishonesty. Just a bunch of creators, people who are doing interesting artistic things, sharing what they're making. So far on there, I found somebody who writes science fiction. I've found other fellow musicians and songwriters. I've found a guy who does 3D printing. I've got no context for what 3D printing is or how it would be beneficial to me, but I find that interesting now. I'm seeing a lot of people posting drawings, paintings, still lifes, a lot of pictures of cats and dogs. It just feels like a place where you can go and hang out, which is, for me, when I first started using the internet back in the late 90s as a kid, it didn't feel like a dangerous place to be. It didn't feel like a place where you felt unsafe and you felt afraid to share your opinion or to share your quirks or to share the things that you're interested in. And a lot of people seem to be echoing the sentiment that traditional social media like Facebook and Instagram and others, it doesn't feel like people are going to engage with anything that is interesting to you, which is creating a lot of loneliness, a lot of isolation. And it's no surprise that a lot of alternative places have sprung up on the internet like Discord and now Patreon with Quips to create safe spaces where people feel like they can share what's on their mind, what's on their heart, without it becoming this brawl, without it becoming a fight, without it becoming something that gets you riled up and wants to get you in a state of fight or flight. And it feels like social media has become that. What I'm realizing about Patreon and Quips, especially when I hear Jack Conte speak, is that they want to create a space that allows you just to be you and allows you to connect with humans. I mean, my music, my songs have always been about connecting with other human beings. The songs that I've written have always been made to connect and resonate with somebody else because I'm a storyteller. Intrinsically, I've always been a storyteller. And it's the worst thing for a storyteller to feel as though nobody's listening to your story, even though you know that it's good, even though that you know that you've spent thousands of hours refining the skill. And that is true for any artist. It is true for any creative. Nobody wants to feel like they're in a busy room being ignored. And that's exactly what social media feels like right now. It feels like a train station where everybody's going hither and thither, going this way and that way, and nobody's stopping to listen, and you're screaming at the top of your lungs. And what has inadvertently happened is a lot of creatives I know have just stopped using social media. There's a mass migration away from social media. People are leaving, people are deleting the apps, people are installing stupid phones or buying stupid phones, where it's like they're trying to get away from the hype of the whole thing, the hype and the high energy and the adrenaline spike that happens when you've got your phone in your hand. It feels like your own thoughts are not your own, and that's exactly what's happening on social media. If I contrast that with what's happening on Quips, it feels like I've chosen to follow these people and I'm interested in what's happening there, and it doesn't feel like I'm being spoon-fed anything or being force-fed anything. So if you are an artist and a creative and you've been feeling similar feelings and you've been experiencing similar thoughts about social media, I would encourage you to install the new Patreon app and check it out. Please go ahead and look me up on there. My username is Fruit Vendor. I'll post the link to my Patreon page down below. I'm really more interested in just connecting with other artists who want to create something positive, hopeful, and want to just create in general, because I feel like we're all called to create. This is what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be connecting and supporting each other and helping each other to continue the journey and the process of making art in whatever format without feeling as though we don't matter, especially in this AI-filled world now where it just feels like those of us who have spent our whole lives creating and making things and practicing and putting in the hours are being shunned and thrown to the side and being thrown under the bus, exactly the way that artists and creators have been thrown under the bus by the traditional social media platforms. In many ways, we are the ones who built those platforms, who made them popular, because when I started gigging and performing, Used to tell people, go to my Facebook page. Everybody would see what you're doing. People still used to come to shows when you invited them via Facebook to a show. That doesn't happen today. Doesn't happen at all. When I do a show now, I don't even make a Facebook event. I don't make an event page. I'll do some form of other guerrilla marketing to get people to come to the show, but I know that it's just going to be a waste of effort trying to fight against algorithms or even put money into paid ads or boosted ads, pressing the big fat donate to Facebook button. If you enjoyed this video and if it was informative, please click like and subscribe. Go ahead and find me on Patreon. I am Fruit Vendor. And on this channel, I speak about the identity of creativity, who we are, who we should be, who we are becoming as creatives, the practice of creativity, the daily habits, tips, tricks, tools of the trade, if you will, and the art of business, how we can make this whole thing sustainable over the long term. And I do all of that through storytelling. Thanks so much for watching this video. Fruit Vendor, out.